anticipate this cut without increasing the general fund contribution to the library.
Okay. So was it from salary savings as well, or any?
No, I'm not sure about whether it was from salary savings or if it was just from operating costs.
Okay.
But
So we planned ahead for that.
We had already planned ahead of it because it was already stated in the proposed budget about this 10% cut.
Good, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay.
Please proceed, Jennifer.
Okay, so with the Health and Human Services, I will go on to the impacts for Health and Human Services. Several cuts, and you can read it in your summary, so I will briefly go over the main ones. CalWORKS administration, there was a line item veto for single allocation funding for administration. The impact to Mendocino County is the impact to the clients. And you will see that most of these impacts are to the community and to the clients with service reductions. And I will also start off by saying that as we had described and presented to the board in our proposed budget, and when we talked about it in the final budget, all of the Health and Human Services Agency cuts are not backfilled with general fund contributions, and the Health and Human Services Agency will have to either reduce services or absorb these cuts throughout the agency. And CalWORKS impact is the clients in this program receiving employment services, child care, and other services for children and parents with special needs. CalWORKS WINS program. Department of Social Services is required to establish this program to provide food assistance by 2010. The reduction to this program of $2 million will impact a delay in this implementation by 1 year. In-home support services, this budget includes a reduction in county IHSS administration funding by 5%. Impact to Mendocino County is social worker staffing, which will reduce hours available for assessing and monitoring in-home assistance services to elderly and disabled clients. Medi-Cal rate reductions to providers. This basically in the final budget, the governor did restore about 9% of the 10% reductions that he had in the proposed budget. However, there is still an impact which is due to mostly hospitals and various healthcare providers in the community. There was also, and I don't have an update on this, but at the time that I put this in the summary, there was a court-ordered preliminary injunction to affect blocking of all Medi-Cal reductions in rates beyond August 18, 2008, and I don't have an update on that. In food stamp administration, the impact locally to Mendocino County will be about $108,000 in food stamp administration budget. This cut will have to be absorbed in reduced staffing, which will increase the time individuals and families needing food and nutrition assistance will have to wait to receive help. The Medi-Cal eligibility administration, this budget includes a cut to the COLA and to the caseload growth, representing a 7% reduction. Adults and children would lose Medi-Cal benefits in Mendocino County, and undocumented and newly qualified immigrants will have trouble qualifying or staying eligible. Impacts to Mendocino County is approximately $325,000, with an increase in workload for eligibility workers processing the Medi-Cal applications. Funding will be shifted to absorb the cut within the agency, and additionally, a trailer bill exempts counties from penalties on meeting the standards when the cost of doing business increases or the funding is suspended. So that basically means that they did do a trailer bill which will not hold counties accountable for not meeting these mandated standards. However, counties still have to absorb the impact by increase in workload. And on the mental health, managed care, and healthy families side, the governor did cut $10.7 million in the managed care allocation and delete the state support for implementation of federal regulations, with no reductions in the mandate, again, an unfunded mandate. Impact to Mendocino County is reduced reimbursements for approximately 120 in hospital cots, with possible increased rates or renegotiations of contracts to retain these providers. In other words, when the county has cuts in reimbursements, we still have the obligation to pay providers the contract amounts that we've already previously negotiated. We may have to re-enter into new contracts with our providers within the community. Prop 36 and the offender treatment program The governor cut $12 million from the $120 million allocated for Prop 36 and OTP, which is basically a 10% reduction. The impact to Mendocino County is the mandated staffing required providing these services and the clients impacted by the lower levels of care and provider services with possible increase in recidivism in parolee operations. And last but not least, our AODP program took a cut. This impact was $84,000, but this was anticipated and is budgeted within the AODP program during the proposed budget. Also, I might add, which is not on your summary,
Question.
Supervisor.
We backfilled that 84,000 with general fund dollars?
no, that is going to be absorbed through transfers and through the agency.
Okay, because it says it's budgeted, so.
It-
if it
budgeted,
was-
but not
okay.
necessarily through general fund.
Okay.
The CCS program, Children's Care Services, and the Family Planning Services are also facing potential cuts, programmatic cuts, and our HSA agency, Health and Human Services Agency Director and staff are still reviewing the possible effects to these services, which may be large impacts to the programs. At this time, I don't have those impacts.
I think you're trying to keep to the time